Okay. All right. Well, I know this is really only slated for about 30 minutes. And so I want to go ahead and jump in and get started. First of all, good morning or good afternoon, depending on where you're living. Depends on if you are already in the afternoon or morning part of your day. Thank you for joining us. I hope you all had a wonderful Labor Day weekend. The short week or the long weekend is a blessing, but it does make that short week sometimes feel like there's a lot more crammed into it. So thank you for finding time to be with us today. The year's in full swing. We are definitely entering the fall stretch. I live in Texas, and so I know I'm hoping for some cooler weather. I'd like for it to start feeling like fall at some point, but maybe soon. So, my name is Laura Miller. I am actually going into my 8th year working for Education Advanced in Test Town, and I do have to share, I love my job. I love supporting test coordinators at the campus and district level. I'm very blessed to work with all of you and work with people that are in your positions nationwide. And I know you don't get a lot of gratitude, I'm betting, but I want to at least personally say thank you for all you do. I know it's making a difference in the lives of your coworkers and in your staff, and especially in those of your students. So I'm very happy and excited to bring you our first webinar of the year, Conversations with Educators. This is something we started last year, and it was really fun. I think the fun of it for me and what we experienced was it's just a way to help connect those of us that are involved in assessment nationwide, to help bring some big picture topics that we all experience at various points throughout the year. And instead of listening to people like us, let's let you listen to people that are actually sitting in the seats of doing those things right now. And so that leads me to getting to share who our fabulous panelists are for today. We have Dr. Kelly Langan, who is the Director of Assessment and Accountability in Springdale School District in Arkansas, and her Albert Crosby, who he has his title here, Assistant Network Technician, also in Springdale, but I know these two, and I know he is, and help me if I'm saying the right thing, basically, they're partners in crime. He is her right-hand man. They're actually in the same office right now. They have desks very close in proximity, and works with tech, data, and just assists her in all things assessment as well. And so excited to have them joining us. Really what we wanted to do today is just talk about starting the 23-24 school year off right. And it really, honestly, I'm sure you all feel this in your positions. It's almost hard to say. We're in 23-24. My daughter graduates in 24, and it hurts. And so time is flying, and here we are, and starting again this new year. And so I wanted to let Kelly and Albert share these types of things, some new year tips and tricks, things that they are going through right now to prepare. Springdale's a fairly large school district. I think they have about 23-ish thousand students. We'll let them share more about that. But so how are they getting all their campuses ready to start this new year? And thought I would also let them touch on the fact that Arkansas is changing or transitioning to a full Cambium vendor provided for the most part this year, which Texas has experienced. And then also hopefully finishing up with some advice for new testing coordinators, because I'm sure you're out there. And so no one wants to hear me talk anymore. So I'm going to stop and let Kelly and Albert take over.
Thank you, Laura. So this is my 4th year as district testing coordinator here in Springdale. And I'm really excited to be here. And every year is a new year. And this 4th year of having a new assessment. So every year I get to relearn what I'm doing. That's just, I think, the nature of the position. And I think every year it seems like it's just gotten harder and harder. It's not getting easier and easier. So I am struggling with everybody else out there. I just want to let you guys know that, okay? It's just like more and more we're asked to be done every year. And I am so thankful that I have Albert. Albert, I appreciate you every day. And I think everyone should get their own Albert. Can't have mine. Albert does so much work on the data side for me. And when it comes to the beginning of the school year and getting things ready, I think one of the best things you could have going forward is to start the year off with a calendar of what you need to have done. because the dates move by so fast and the time just flies, really. I mean, can you believe August is already done and we're already a third of the way through September? I mean, it took me I had a day plan to get my PSAT PowerPoint presentation done. It took me 3 days. Let's start there, because in addition to doing that, they expected me to answer the phones. I had to get back with building test coordinators. I had to get other stuff done. My desk is buried here somewhere.
And remember, you had to breathe in there once in a while.
I had to go meet ELPA screeners. They want me to do all sorts of stuff. I am one person, and I know you guys are there with me. You can feel the pain I'm in. So can I share my screen for just a second with you?
Yes, of course.
Okay, I'm gonna move this over here. What I want to show you real quick is this is just a calendar that I created, and I created it remember, we are educators, so we steal everything. And I borrowed this from, is it doing it?
Yes,
Yeah,
you're
sure
sharing
is.
the screen.
I borrowed this from the ESL, the calendar idea from here, the ESL department. And so here's July, the LM enrollment, welcome back training. And I try to color code things, and then my color coding gets off, but you know, ACE corrections window. So here is just a month by month view of everything that needs to get done. And I share this with the building test coordinators. We've got, how many campuses do we have, Albert?
That's how you count, 30 or 31.
We've got a lot of campuses. We are the largest district in the state of Arkansas. But I was asked every year, and so this is the first year I finally had this calendar done. I finally got organized enough to have everything. And I share this with the building test coordinators so they can get at as much, you know, organized as possible moving their year forward, because not, you know, I'm over here complaining about all the stuff I have to do, but my building test coordinators do everything, you know, I'm doing. That's why I'm make the PowerPoints for them as much as possible, but they're also SPED designees, EL designees, in these 504 meetings. What else do they do?
Well, they're the assistant principals. They have all of the regular duties that entails.
That's true. So, but having a calendar that sets up when everything's due and when all my trainings are going to be and everything set forth like this, I think this has been very, very helpful for everybody moving forward. So this, I think, would be the biggest thing I would set up moving forward, is having a calendar of just when you know roundabout when things are going to be due.
And it doesn't have to be 100%. It provides that overview that makes such a difference for figuring out what's coming on the path.
Right. Albert, when it comes to the beginning of the year, I know we had some reports that you've been working on, like flow charts. He gets a bunch of data together to help feed the buildings, because, you know, one thing that we started last year is we are fed so much data through testing. And one thing that I hate to see is all this data comes back and no one does anything with it.
Or sometimes it comes back in ways that's a little less than helpful. Like with ELPA, which doesn't really measure achievement, but measures readiness for performing with your peers. It's not that 30% of your students were proficient that took the ELPA test that's important. It's how did they move? So I made a flow chart, we've referred to as a flow chart, that shows how many students moved from beginning to being progressing, or for progressing to proficient. So what that looks like coming out of the test, or for what your students that you're serving in a building look like at one point. And that seemed to be real helpful. And I can share some examples of that back with Laura to share with you, or Lisa, excuse me, if she'd like to see them.
But so we want buildings to use their data. So we're not testing just to be testing.
Right.
We're testing to inform our instruction, or we're testing to move students out of, in case of ELPA, English language proficiency services, if they don't need them, and so forth.
And that translates to any state, any you know, Texas has TELPAS, you have yours, and so everybody has their English language learner, I think, assessments, maybe just a different,
WIDA.
Yeah, WIDA, different acronyms for different things. What is y'all's biggest, probably turnover, new year, right? New building or campus test coordinators. And again, I think no matter how big or small your district is, you could have 3 new campus test coordinators, or you could have 30. how do you all get the new folks that you're building on the same page going into a new
I wish them luck.
year? Right?
Bless you, move forward. Now, I try to pair them off with someone that a veteran building test coordinator and make sure that they have someone that they can call and contact and get in touch with in case I'm not available to it make sure they're aware of all the resources from past years are because I don't know about y'all, but Google folders is my friend. And I am an old dog, so I do not like to learn new tricks. And I see you smiling, Albert, because he knows this is so true. Don't teach me something new. And I know my path to get to my folders, and I will teach you the path to get to my folders. Here's all the old stuff, but have a new person, have an older, experienced testing coordinator pair with a newer, less experienced testing coordinator so that they can learn the ropes.
And that calendar helps, like Kelly shared, because that gives them a roadmap for what's coming. And throughout the year, she makes publicly visible to all of the other testing coordinators steps that they have to accomplish so they can check off and feel like they've done it. And sometimes that even becomes a little game between different buildings to make sure they get things accomplished. But that way, deadlines don't just pile up and sneak up on you that you're not aware of.
And with the new testing coordinators, let me give you an example of something that happened today. No one wants a testing irregularity, right? Because that's like the biggest, oh my gosh, big red X over you.
Mm-hmm.
Terrifying, goes to the state, yada yada.
Licensure problems.
Yeah, it's awful. So I get a call this morning from one of our new testing coordinators that we think we might have had a testing violation. It's like, okay, well, let's examine this. Yesterday, just FYI, Albert and I were in a car accident. We got rear-ended. Yeah, it was terrible, but we're okay. Told the lady who hit me, I said, you know what? This is why they call them an accident. Right? It wasn't meant to happen. That's what I told the lady this morning. I said, it's an irregularity because it wasn't supposed to happen. You didn't intend for it to happen. It was an accommodation that got put on a test. She thought she took the accommodation off because the kid had exited EL services. You know, it's one of these things, boom, boom, that happened. She thought she took the accommodation off. It didn't get saved. Kid got the accommodation. New teacher. She's like, oh my gosh, I stopped the whole test from class from testing. I don't know what to do. Mm-hmm. You know what? It's okay. It's not a problem. We're just going to take the accommodation off, take a deep breath. You're fine. We're moving forward. Mm-hmm. And life goes on.
Right.
Training
people to stay calm.
Yeah. Training people to stay calm. Don't overreact, and don't overreact yourself because you don't want to blow it out of the water and then make them terrified to teach. Right. Or terrified to report the irregularities. And just like this testing coordinator said to that teacher was, you did exactly what we trained you to do. You were actively monitoring. Mm-hmm. And that was right. That is exactly what we trained them to do.
Exactly. Great. Okay. Well, this is all good advice. That just kind of brought, just accommodations to the top of my head. You all are a test hound district. Do you have advice or even maybe how, I'd love to know, and I'm hoping you will say test hound has helped kind of highlight or bring accommodations a little bit more in place for your campuses, but what are some processes you're going through right now within test hound in the new year in dealing with accommodations?
So last year was our first year to have test hound. And I'm gonna be honest with you, Laura, I got pushback. I got a lot of pushback because for Arkansas, we had to redo C's. C's is our special ed accommodations vendor. Mm-hmm. And when I said we had to redo our C's, that Albert, you explained to this.
Well, in C's tracks accommodations, and it has manages IAPs and 504 plans. And at one point, there were actually open text fields where people typed what they wanted for the accommodations. They were used to doing that. So it was different for every school, almost every student sometimes.
Ridiculous.
And, yeah, getting uniformity for what those accommodations were and what they meant was horrible, even within a school sometimes, horrible moving between schools. From my perspective, the fact that Test Hound forced us to sit down and think about what accommodations were like as a district and what they were uniform between IEP plans, 504 plans, for us, the other third sources, LPAC committees, and that's really the three that we deal with. Getting those consistent was painful for many of the people because it meant revisiting those plans and recoding some of it. But as they did it, they knew they needed to do it. It was just there was no incentive to do it prior to having something that was really trying to make it easy to utilize, which is where Test Town shines, is pulling that together for us.
So we had a lot of pushback, but we told them they had their deadline by Christmas. And so grump, 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 grump. But when spring came around and we took our spring testing, Test Town was praised because the ease of not having to triangulate 3 documents to make sure all of those accommodations, when I say 3 documents, we're talking the 504 piece, the IEP piece, and the LPAC piece, to make sure all of the accommodations were right on the testing documents and everything, but it was right there in one sheet and they could just go do, and make sure all of the accommodations were right for testing. They were like, oh, and so it was wonderful. They were just singing praises. And then this year already, I was like, okay, so, you know, I'm slow. So we took one piece, I know, right? We took, you know me, Laura. We took one piece last year and we're like, okay, we're going to focus on accommodations. So this year I was like, okay, this time we're going to do rosters. I've got Brandolyn over here already. This is one of my testing coordinators. And we've already sat down and we're like, okay, rosters. And we've sat down and we figured this out. And she's all excited because she's already been singing praises for Test Town too, and she's like, okay, what are we going to learn next? And we've already sat down and gone through it, and she's out the door running, and I'm like, you go teach, and I'll sit over here and make more PowerPoints because apparently that's all I can do. And I'm so super excited too. So we're on the next, in my world, phase of what Test Town can do, and with our new assessment, there's a big TV over here, assessment system that we've got going on, and that we still, I feel like we're building. Have y'all seen Hotel Transylvania in the plane with the bat flying it? Because that's the plane we're driving right now, building the plane while flying it in this new assessment system. And yeah, that's how we're going about this.
Well, talk to us. That's great. I love hearing all that. And I love what I love the most. I mean, of course, we want you at the district level to be happy and you being able to facilitate what you can, but it really makes me happy because that was my jam was dealing at the campus or business or about building campus level of helping those coordinators. And so that's exciting. And I love hearing that. But Texas friends, y'all feel free to chime in the chat. Texas transitioned to Cambium full-time or as our full testing vendor. We're in year 3 and Arkansas is heading that way now. And so Kelly, I would love for you just to share I don't know, anything you're learning as you're transitioning through that right now. And Texas friends, if you want to, again, chat any advice or anything that you might help our Arkansas friends learn as they go through this transition, that would be great. Kelly, thoughts on moving this through right now in your state?
Thoughts on moving what through?
Cambium, transitioning. How's it going?
I need answers.
But Laura, but Kelly, I just realized as you said this that we will probably want to use Test Town for making those rosters for the classroom testing. The light didn't come on until you said that. So you see the light came on her face as I said that. We were dealing with the problem just now, and we hadn't thought of how to deal with it.
So that's a great that we are doing for our Texas states is helping register students for the test, how get their attributes or accommodations turned on for them within Cambium. As they continue to change things in the state of Texas, I actually have things right now that we are addressing and trying to make sure are correct for everybody as we go into the new year. But that is definitely something as the state of Arkansas or really any other Cambium state, Florida, Arkansas, whoever else is represented, I believe Ohio is Cambium. If there's anybody else, that's definitely a goal of ours. We just have to have those layouts to make sure that they're the same of what we already have. So we definitely want to be working with you all specifically on making sure that we can do that for you all as you transition fully to Cambium.
This was our problem this morning. So if anyone has any tips on rostering for classroom assessments.
Yeah. Of course, roster has such a weighted word with the old test where you had to build that list of who was taking the test. And in Cambium, who takes the test, I think it was being like a lunchroom monitor. You come up and say, I've got a ticket to eat lunch right now. And the teacher says, yes, you can take this test with me right now, or no, I don't expect you, go somewhere else. Go, and that's gorgeous. And I appreciate that somebody's saying they've made instructions for Cambium that we're probably glad to welcome peeking at that. But
Yeah, Rachel, if you don't mind putting your email, your email in the chat, then we can again just help connect people here. That would be amazing. Oh, yes.
Especially with our ESL students, the way they're scheduled in the student information system really has nothing to do with the way the buildings need to test them. Because they need to pull them together at different times or out of different classes and figure out what to, we're almost 40% ESL right now still. We're closer to 50, we're over 50% language minority students by a good ways.
Rachel, thank you very much. And anyone else, and this is one thing I want to try to figure out. Again, this is really only our second year starting these connection webinars, is how then to get everybody connected after the fact. I know I will have a list of anyone that registered for it. I'm going to go ahead and put my email in the chat real quick, and I cannot type and talk at the same time. That's sad, but it's true.
One of the challenges for sharing that, we have it in district too, is how you keep from accidentally disclosing some private records. So you have to redact student information from pieces that you share.
Yeah, I do that a lot.
So true, but any way I can help connect people, and just, I'm happy to do that. If you send me an email and say, hey, I'd really like to get connected with so-and-so, then let me know and I can make that happen too. Go ahead, Kelly, what were you thinking?
Oh, I was gonna say, also anyone on that's from Arkansas, I'm also the president of Arkansas Association of Testing Professionals, so please reach out. We haven't done anything yet this year because I don't know if you heard this, but I'm a little bit buried in a lot of stuff, but I would be happy to share any and all of the materials I have. So, and with anybody else in Texas or any of the other states, anything I have is that's what we need to do as testing professionals. We need to share because we don't have a group.
Yeah.
And Kelly's not really that pale in person, but she probably feels that way today.
I do. Sorry, Laura.
No, you're good. Well, that was just going to be one thing I was going to say. And I actually had that in a way to introduce you as well and just missed it. Kelly, Arkansas did not have in Texas, we have a very active TSNAP organization where there's, district people talk to district people but Kelly had the foresight last year to start that for the state of Arkansas, because I think one thing that we have all found over time is that staying connected and sharing information is really the only way that we can survive. I think it's easy for people to get isolated and in your office and doing your things in your district, but there are people out there that are doing the work, have done the work. So why not share? And that's one thing that is important to me in the test town world is sharing how to make using our system easier, but also sharing everything about assessment to make life easier for everybody. It's a passion of mine and important to me, and I know it is to Kelly, and really I'm sure anybody that's it's only a way to help. I do, gosh, want to already say we've got 4 minutes left. So any other, I know, I told you it goes fast. Any other comments or chats or questions? Let's keep that going to share information. And again, everyone on this call has my email. And so if you want to get connected to someone, or if there's any way I can get you with people, I can do that. But let me just go ahead and share my screen really quick. And we've kind of been doing, I had a little Q&A slide, but we've kind of been doing that as we go. Just reminding you, our entire company's desire is to create products that make things easier for educators, no matter what you are involved in, whether it be master scheduling, whether it be in graduation tracking, whether it be in evaluating teachers. These are all the products that we currently provide to create. Our catchphrase is operational efficiencies, operations that have to happen in school districts. How can we save you time, streamline processes, and make it easier for you? Clearly, we're on with testing people right now. And so TestTown is that tool for you all. But if you have a hand in any of these other things, A lot of my testing coordinators also sometimes, or they work with lead counselors or pathways has been something that I think is really, really cool that I've now seen, especially. But again, the master scheduling, all the other parts of what we offer too. So I am going to say thank you, but also just allow Kelly and Albert, first of all, thank you for your time because you don't have a lot of time either. You're busy. Thank you for your time, but any last parting comments or words of wisdom you would like to share with our group?
I just want to say thank you for letting us talk today. And you guys, for accommodations, Test Town really saved us. Brandon, I know I mentioned her earlier, she said it saved herself 30 hours of time last year. So thank you for Test Town on doing that. That really saved our district probably 900 hours overall.
At least, yeah.
By itself. So
yeah.
Thank you for that product. And I'm excited to see what we can do for rostering this year. And then maybe next year I'll learn one more thing.
Maybe so. Just keep on breathing. And if you're in a state like us right now, while they're still putting the wings in the airplane while it's in the air, remember, they're doing their best and it will come together.
Great. And I of course, again, I guess typing and talking don't go hand in hand too well with me. So I think I did just get my email out to the entire group instead of just the hosts and panelists. So I will just hang out here for a second and just see if anybody else wants to keep chatting for a minute. And Rachel, yeah, the performance tracker component is available in Texas, and what we're working on trying to release, that's the Cambium files for other states. And so working towards that, and it is very, very powerful. And again, just for my Texas friends, like I said, I've got a whole list of things that they're updating and pushing out right now. And so as things continue to change with how we need to work with things and layouts, then we're on it and focusing that direction. So I will go ahead and call this over, but again, hang on for a second just to see if there's any other chats that we can help. Okay.
I appreciate you guys.
All have a great day. Thank you again for all your time, and we will stay in touch.
Bye, y'all.
Bye.
Bye.